How did the Utes look tonight, in your opinion?
Oh, it was fun. It was a good night. You know, this was our first time being in the Huntsman. They just finished the scoreboard today. The new, unbelievable, you know, really enhanced, I think, the arena. And so our guys, I was pleased for the most part. We shot the ball and didn't seem out of whack, you know, when the popcorn, it was the first time the popcorn started popping. And a lot of these guys have never been in here, period, the guys on our team. So we've made good strides. The last couple of weeks we had turnover issues for a period of time that we took care of, and then defensively I think we're getting better, and that's kind of where you are this time of year. It's you know, the goal as a coach, I think, is to say, hey guys, that was good defense, it was just better offense, or vice versa. But we, you know, up until this last week, we haven't been able to do that because our offense was so bad that we couldn't tell where we were defensively. And then defensively, we took some steps back, and our offense was really good. And now I think it kind of looks like basketball, and you know, it either goes in or it doesn't. So yeah, guys are buying in.
You guys can clearly shoot the three. 17 of 37 tonight. Is that an emphasis for this team? Is that going to be something that you guys rely on heavily this season, shooting the three ball?
I think so. You know, I think that's the way the game's going. Those threes, I know they add up a lot quicker than the old-fashioned twos. The key is if we share the ball. That's a lot of those threes were assisted tonight, and guys getting into the lane and not forcing anything or taking an average shot, but finding somebody, and the willingness to make an extra pass. I think this team needs to play collectively that way, and it should give us some opportunities. You hope to, you know, outlast the defense on some possessions, and I like the way we shoot it. Yeah, we've got some guys that can do it.
Is that something you guys have consciously embraced, is shooting the three ball more, kind of with the way that basketball has evolved, especially at the NBA level where the three ball is so prevalent now? Is that something you guys are emphasizing?
Well, you know, I think spacing's a big part of it. You know, being fundamentally sound so that you've got an outlet to hit guys, and then as the teams rotate, you make one more pass. But you know, it's no secret. I think the game has evolved to where it's more spread, and typically 4 guys on the floor now can shoot threes. You know, 15 years ago, a lot of times you had 2 bigs that were space eaters, and so the game has evolved, and it's trickling into every area, really. You know, and we spend a lot of time in our practice. You can't be a good shooting team, and we probably spend 30 to 40 minutes a day, you know, sometimes in the middle of practice when guys are tired, getting up shots, because that's, you know, it's a skill that you have to hone in on.
You got a guy in Chris Seeley who we really got to see for the first time tonight. When was the last time, or have you had a player at Utah that had the combination of the length and athleticism that Seeley showed us tonight?
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons we recruited him, you know. He wasn't overly skilled, but he was an athlete, you know, although he missed a number of dunks, even in the game. But if he plays with energy, you know, that's the thing, and we've had some discussions with Chris. Still, even last year, didn't play a lot in practice with injury, you know, his shoulder, and had some knee issues. So this is his first go-round, and it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but I think he responded really well tonight, and came out and gave his team a lift on the glass, made a couple great passes for threes, which is important. So, you know, keep getting better.
You mentioned the shooting. I wonder, do you feel like you have more guys who are able to sort of create off the dribble, which is sort of leading to some of those shots? I mean, in terms of, you know, not just creating for themselves, but, you know, you see Bibbins in there sort of looking to, you know, create stuff, and obviously Cedric, and I think
Well, part of that is also how the game's evolved a little bit, is, you know, with the rules of not being able to put your hands on guys. So it's something that we haven't done here in the past. It's part of our offense now, where, you know, instead of everything being, or 2 years ago it was nothing but open threes, but we never had anybody that would take the ball off the bounce and collapse the D, and maybe at times kick off to another shooter, or drop off to a big, or even finish. So it's something that takes some work. You know, you've got to be kind of a triple threat player at all times, and I think in the past we've been more probably a dual type of threat, and that drawn kick concept at the end of a possession is something that we've been working on, and we did see that a little bit tonight. We need to keep rolling with with that, you know?
What do you feel like is the biggest adjustment is that? I mean, adjustment that you guys have to that, is it just bringing in different personnel, or is it just even for you guys learning how to sort of change how you coach that?
Well, I don't think we're a program, never have been since I've been here, that have a set system. And we've got a lot of non-negotiables in terms of how we play and how we defend. That doesn't change. But from an offensive point of view, I think we've done a good job of trying to recruit the best players we can, and then our job as coaches is to put them in positions where they can be successful. So it would be kind of silly if you thought you were going to run the same offense the year that we got to the Sweet 16 with Jakob in the post, you know, and shooting. And well, now we have a different team, and we kind of tried to work around that with Kuz, and this team has a different identity, and so we're playing a lot more through our bigs up in the elbow and the high post and running splits and getting some movement that way. So it's always, you know, it's never the same story. You always have a new set of characters that are coming in, and then you try to evolve. We had 5 turnovers tonight on illegal screens. That's one of the big points of emphasis, so we have to clean that up. You can't afford to have 5 screening fouls in a game. You know, number one, you're going to lose guys on the bench because of foul trouble. But I think as the rules change, the officiating changes, you kind of have to evolve your game and try to figure out where the sweet spot is with your current roster.
Where do you think this team is chemistry-wise?
I think it's off the charts. You know, if it were at this point, if you could rate a team 1 to 100 in terms of a tight-knit group, we'd be in the 90s somewhere. But also, we haven't faced any adversity, and I was able to play 10 guys tonight. You know, things change because we're going to scrimmage Saturday, and you know, we're starting to play some opponents, and all of a sudden I just get to pick 5 guys to be out there. And then that chemistry is important when, what are you bringing to the table maybe when you're playing 10 minutes a game? That's where some of that stuff starts to evolve. But since I've been here, I haven't had more fun coaching a group of guys. They're really committed, I think, to each other. It's a tight-knit group, and it's a great foundation, you know, when it's coming into practice. We don't have any energy vampires. We've got a bunch of guys that are locked in and pretty cerebral, and I think we truly are pulling for each other. And this team probably needs to do that more than ever. We need to depend on each other to have success, rather than being able to count on 1 or 2 guys to bail us out in situations.
You can shoot free throws too at 16 to 19 tonight. Has that been I know it's always an important part of the game, but what's clicking now where they're making 16 to 19?
Well, again, you know, there's not a practice that goes by that I wouldn't say in competitive settings we found some fun little games that we play, and it's all about repetition. You know, I think of a guy like Jace Johnson, who struggled from the line a year ago and has done a nice job working on it. He was 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 last week in a scrimmage that we had, and I think he made them all tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
5 for 5 tonight.
5 for 5. So, you know, you got to stand up there and shoot them in some pressure situations in practice, and then get out here and feel what that, you know, is like. But when we shoot free throws in practice, I talk about how I want to lead the Pac-12 in free throw shooting. It's a goal that we can reach, and man, you getting there is one thing, but when you add those points up, as you know, and the number of close games that we have in our conference, it's a pretty fine line, and I think it's a big piece to the puzzle.
What's your biggest concern about this team after watching them tonight, probably combined with what you've seen throughout camp?
Well, I mean, it's no different than any team. In different phases of defense, from it starts in transition and just being solid there and dealing with the team sets. We're decent at guarding our own stuff, but we're gonna have to start guarding other teams' offensive sets, and then the rebounding. You know, I think there's a high correlation with, if we can rebound the ball. We lost a double-digit rebounder last year in Kuzma, and so collectively we're going to have to rebound it and get stops. That's my concern probably with every team, is defense. You know, we'll spend plenty of time on offense, but I'm confident we've got enough pieces to the puzzle that we'll be able to figure out how to score. The key to winning games and championships, I think, lies in the defense.
Anything else?
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks.
Okay.